Hello and welcome to BSR TV's BSR GT Cup, coming from you live tonight from the Circuit of the Americas just outside Austin in America, or more properly coming to you from my office and probably your armchair. One of the beauties of sim racing is you don't have to be on an aeroplane for 10 hours to get to any of the venues. I'm Marcus Naris and I'll be talking you through the action tonight. It looks like we're going to be in for an action-packed race. I've been watching the practice going on here tonight, and we have an incident limit in place in this series, as you're probably well aware, and particularly through the tricky, twisty sections between turns 2 and turns 5 on this circuit. There's been lots of guys running wide and picking up off-track incidents, so trying to keep it underneath an incident limit of 15 incidents in a 25-minute race is going to be something of a challenge, I think, for some of the guys. As I said, we're here at the Circuit of the Americas, which is a relatively new venue to the iRacing service, and if you've not had a chance yet to have a trundle around it, I heartily recommend that you do. It's a very, very faithful reproduction, believe me, of this great circuit just outside Austin in Travis County in Texas. We've got a really tight championship, and coming into these two races tonight, which will be races 9 and 10 of the championship, things are starting to spread out a little bit in the championship. Ruben Velasco leads the way, and he's built for himself a little bit of a buffer. He leads by 21 points as a result of some very, very strong performances. One race win and 4 top 5 results so far for Ruben Velasco, and we saw last week he runs very, very strong whenever he gets the opportunity. Second place in the championship is Linus Brostrom, and Linus has been doing a fantastic job. For those who aren't regular viewers, I know we mention it quite often, but I'll mention it again. Linus is driving one-handed due to a broken arm. So for those of you who do use the service in sim race, you'll know how difficult it is to keep the car under control and change gear and do all that other good stuff with 2 hands. Linus is having to do it with 1 hand. He's configured his setup so he can change gear with his thumb and fingers, and he's been doing a fantastic job of remaining as consistent as he possibly can do while he's driving through that injury. And as I say, he finds himself in second place, albeit 21 points behind Ruben Velasco in the lead. Fabio Gonzalez is in third place. Again, very, very good showings from Fabio. Tends not to be as strong in race 1 as he tends to be on race 2 of an evening. He's a guy who really does take advantage of the reverse grid setup to make sure that he can absolutely maximise any points potential on any particular given evening. Carlos Foss is in 4th place. Carlos had an extremely strong week last week. Saw him move 8 places, the biggest move in the championship last week. So he jumped from 12th to 4th place last week. Behind him in 5th place is Alain Tessier from JCL Sim Racing, with Juan Jose Sanchez and John Oncala Jaraguay, 2 of the Playful Bet Overgaming guys, sitting in 6th and 7th. Jaraguay couldn't make the event last week, so I know he's very, very keen tonight to make up for that. He spoke to me last week, messaged me last week and said that not to worry, despite missing last week's round, he'd definitely be there again tonight, so I'm very keen to see what he can come up with. Sylvain Pomerade is in 8th place, ahead of Michael Stephen from Team Extreme. Jose Vergara is in 10th place. If we move outside the top 10, the second of the Pomerade brothers, Nicholas Pomerade for JCL Sim Racing, is 11th place, just ahead of Willem Botha from Team Extreme. George Lee Wright, who's no longer in the championship, and Matt Dalton, who very much is, share 13th and 14th place in the championship. Oki Stokenberger is 15th, ahead of Cyril Thomas, Ashley Sutton, Patrick Bolster, David E. Baker, and Jose Almeida rounds out the top 20. So there's lots going on, lots to play for. If we look from first place all the way down to 20th place, there's quite a large spread of points. But there's a cluster between 2nd and kind of 8th place, where we've got 8 drivers there separated by less than 30 points in the championship. So it really is all to play for tonight going into the races. We're just coming to the end of the warm-up session, which has been very, very interesting so far. Michael Stephen has been quickest so far, ahead of Juan Prieto. Michael Stephen's been running in a 2:06, 2 minutes 6 seconds, .634. And it certainly seems to me like the quick guys are going to be in and around that 2 minutes 6 second bracket. what's interesting for such a long circuit, and this is a very, very long circuit, it's certainly in the Spa region of circuit length. It's not quite as long as that, but it is 3.5 miles. Of course, a circuit punctuated by some very, very long straights. For such a long circuit, I've been surprised at how close the times have been. So certainly these guys are running very, very close nose to tail, and it all leads towards some very exciting action as the race gets going. So as everyone starts to form on the grid now, the standard start procedure for these races, we have a rolling start in these events. So what we'll see is the grid will form up, everyone will take their place, and then we'll have in this case, a half lap of the circuit, or an abbreviated lap of the circuit. We don't go all the way around. So let me just run down the grid for you as everyone takes their position. First place is Fabio Gonzalez with a qualifying time of 2:05.170. As I say, I doubt we'll see them running that quickly in the race, but I'm often proven wrong. Second place is Sylvain Pomerade. Third place on the grid is Juan Jose Sanchez. As I said, Juan Jose will be looking to have a good result tonight. Fourth place, and a fantastic qualifying performance from Ashley Sutton. Ashley is habitually quick, had a very strong week last week, managed to avoid the problems that he often finds himself caught out by, so he'll be delighted that he's finally managed to get some points on the board, and he'll be looking to do the same again tonight from fourth place. Fifth place is Giancarlo Jaraguay, who we spoke about missed the session last week, and he'll be looking to make up as many places as he can in that number 18 machine from fifth place. Sixth is Carlos Foss, seventh Ruben Velasco, eighth is Noel Lundberg, a relative newcomer to the championship, but quick straight out the box, and Noel I know will be looking to do the best he can tonight. Ninth place is Jose Vergara, and 10th place is Nicholas Pomerade, so it's really all to play for tonight. There's a good mix of those top 10 drivers scattered throughout that grid position, so you know, I'm certainly trying to see what we can do. Linus Bostrom, I mentioned, runs second in the championship, is quite a way down tonight, but as we say, he's focusing more on consistency than anything else. Linus is going to be starting in 30th position. We've got a full grid of 43 machines tonight, so wherever we look on the circuit, there's sure to be something going on. Hopefully we won't miss anything. I'll try and bring you as much action as I can, but you know, please forgive me if something goes on in 32nd and 38th place, 32nd and 33rd place that I miss while we're looking at the leaders. Sometimes happens more frequently than you would believe. So as the guys form up 2 by 2, kept relatively slow. It's a very slow pace car around here. It tends to run at about 40 miles an hour. You'll see that those blue and white playful bet over gaming machines are swarming the front few rows of the grid. Fabio Gonzalez and Sylvain Pomerade lead the guys around the corner. Ashley Sutton in the yellow and black CQR machine, but around them are those blue and white Corsair sponsored machines as the guys run down the front straight and they start to pedal it now. We've got a green flag and away they go. Certainly not hanging around. Sylvain Pomerade's taking the wide line. There's 3 different lines you can take through this turn 1. Pomerade's looking to go around the outside. Unfortunately, just inside, Fabio Gonzalez gets on the curb, too much of that curb, and bounces it up in the air, and that gives Sylvain Pomerade the opportunity to sweep around through the inside as they go into this twisty turn 2, 3, 4 and 5 section. These tight S's that certainly are a reflection of the fact that this circuit was designed by a motorcycle racer, not a car driver. And as we look back through the field, it looks to me like nobody is in a serious problem. Danny Lawrence is bringing up the rear there, but it doesn't look to me like we've had any major incidents or major accidents, and that's almost certainly a joint result of the fact that we've got some fantastic driving in this series, and turn 1 here is incredibly wide. Same can't be said for many circuits. So halfway round this first lap of this 25-minute race, Sylvain Pomerade sits in the lead. He's just ahead of Fabio Gonzalez. Gonzalez has got Ashley Sutton getting very, very close to him as they take the long run down this back straight. Drafting is really going to come into play here. Sutton has a little peek up the inside there of Pomerade, but I don't think he's going to make it stick. Sylvain Pomerade just Gonzalez just pokes his car out ever so slightly to the left just to make sure Sutton knows that he's not going to get an easy ride through the corner. Behind Sutton we've got 5 playful overbet gaming machines line astern, so all the way from Giancarlo Jaraguay in 5th place all the way back you can see that swarm of blue and white machines look absolutely amazing line astern like that. So back up front, Pomerade is starting to stretch his legs a little bit, I think as a consequence of the pressure that Sutton has had to apply in 2nd place, and Sutton has got around Fabio Gonzalez there. He's made that move somewhere I didn't see it. Hopefully we saw it on the broadcast. I didn't see it myself, but as a consequence of the battling that Ashley Sutton's been doing with Fabio Gonzalez, it's allowed Sylvain Pomeroy to stretch his legs a little bit. And as we come to the end of this first lap, very long laps here, Sylvain Pomeroy has a lead of 1.3 seconds over Ashley Sutton in that number 41 yellow and black machine. And Ashley Sutton again is having to defend from Fabio Gonzalez. Fabio Gonzalez was certainly very close to him going through that turn 1 section, and now as they flick left and right through the S's, he's certainly not letting Sutton get away. And as they come out of this twisty section through a relatively tight left-hander onto that long back straight, Gonzalez is going to be doing everything he can to take advantage of whatever draft there is and really put Sutton under a little bit of pressure. He knows that Sutton's not had the greatest start to the season with the incidents that he's been having, and he knows that Sutton may be on the side of caution just to make sure that he doesn't lose out. And as they go through that very tight left-hander there, it looks to me like Fabio Gonzalez is going to have to start looking behind him, because he's got Juan Jose Sanchez behind him. Sanchez, who's got around his teammate, and it looks like we've got a problem with Michael Stephen there. He's had something of a problem there. If Michael Stephen in the number 305 machine is dropping well back. We're going to have a look at a replay there, just see if we can understand. And it just looks to me like he's tried to take that wide sweeping line into that hairpin, which of course gives you a great run out of that hairpin down that short straight. But unfortunately, what it does do, it leaves you very vulnerable to someone sticking their nose up the inside, and that's exactly what's happened there. Cyril Thomas has poked his nose up the inside of Michael Stephen there, and to be fair, Michael Stephen probably should have stayed a little bit out wide. You can take that sweeping line if you're all on your own, but if you've got somebody behind you, you should certainly expect them to poke their nose up the inside there. So unfortunate for Stephen. I don't think anyone was particularly at full, but it does mean that Michael Stephen now in that Team Extreme machine has dropped back to 20th place from a relatively strong start for him in 9th position. Michael Stephen, of course, running strongly in the championship, currently in the top 10 of the championship in 9th place. So if we look back up front again, as we can see, Sylvain Pomeroy is continuing to, I wouldn't say romp away, but he's certainly growing that gap another 0.3 on that second lap. He now leads Ashley Sutton by 1.6 seconds, or did as they crossed the finish line. Sutton's getting his foot down, and he's managed to gap Fabio Gonzalez a little bit. Gonzalez has dropped back, as I said, definitely into the clutches of Juan Jose Sanchez in that number 10 machine, who is literally right up behind the rear wing of Fabio Gonzalez. And as they go onto the long back straight that just twists slightly to the left and then bears back round to the right up into the back hairpin, Gonzalez is really having to put on a little bit of a defensive drive there to make sure that he doesn't get gobbled up by Juan Jose Sanchez behind him, because if you lose one place around here, it's very easy to lose 3 or 4, and with this train of ominous-looking blue and white playful bet over gaming machines running line astern, it's certainly not something you'd want to do. Certainly, I'm sure that Fabio Gonzalez wouldn't want to get gobbled up by Juan Jose Sanchez behind him, because he knows that Sanchez is going to do everything he can to make sure as many of those blue and white machines behind get through. So if we look back ever so slightly, at the end of that long train of playful bet over gaming machines, we've got Jamie Rushworth in 9th place in the 21st position, and Rushworth has managed to pull a little bit of a gap to Rob Breed behind him. Rob Breed in the JCB sponsored machine, which is a fantastic looking machine. It looks great with the Union Jack on the roof as well. Juan Prieto is in 11th place at the moment, just ahead of Noel Lundberg, who we said has had a very strong start to the championship. The second of the Pomerades, Nicholas Pomerade, is sitting in 13th place at the moment, with Tom Ward and Marcus Hamilton rounding out the top 15. Ward and Hamilton more known among the BSR TV fans as very strong runners in the BSR TV Skip Barber Championship, which took place last night at Alton Park, of course. So again, on that lap, Sylvain Pomerade pulls out another 0.2 of a second. He's just steadily driving away from these two guys. As I say, he's not romping away with it by any stretch of anyone's imagination. But again, on that last lap, he took a good tenth and a half out of Ashley Sutton behind him. Sutton, meanwhile, is being chased down by Fabio Gonzalez. Fabio Gonzalez actually recovered a little bit in that third lap. He had his strongest lap of the race, a 2:06.0. Definitely quicker than he's been able to go before in this race. It was his quickest lap by a good 0.3 of a second, and that's borne out on the screen by the fact he's now very much closer to Ashley Sutton than he was before. You'll recall Sutton had built a little bit of a gap at the end of lap 2, but now as we work our way through this fourth lap, these guys have completed 3 laps now. Ashley Sutton's coming under significant pressure from Fabio Gonzalez, and Fabio Gonzalez, you won't mind me saying, isn't the most patient of guys. If he sees a half chance, he tends to be the kind of guy who will go for it and go for it pretty hard. So Ashley Sutton's going to have to be very aware of that. He's not going to be able to relax at all, because if he leaves half a gap, leaves half a chance for Fabio Gonzalez is going to put a move on him. So Sutton's really got to be on his game here, and again, he's having to take a defensive line through some of the corners, and all this is fantastic news for Sylvain Pomerade up front. He'll be absolutely delighted with the way things are going as they exit this twisty, turny back section of the circuit through the tight left-hander that opens out onto this start-finish straight. And as we look at Sylvain Pomerade there, he'll blast up the hill, and it is a big old long blast up the hill, and there's 3 or 4 lines you can take there depending on the situation you find yourself in. He goes through the corner and tries to square off that corner to take advantage of the speed he can carry through the corner and get a reasonably quick exit. You can take a sweeping wide line through that corner, which gives you a much quicker exit, but it makes you very slow on entry. And if you've got anyone parked behind you, much like Ashley Sutton has with Fabio Gonzalez, again, they can just poke a nose up inside you. So these guys will be conscious. They're not one to repeat the issues that poor old Michael Stephen had earlier in the race when he unfortunately went off. And as I say that, Sylvain Pomerade he's run wide there. He's rejoined the circuit, but he finds himself now just behind Carlos Foss, fighting with Ruben Velasco. So he's now down in 7th position, and we'll have another look at that. And it looks to me like he's just overdone it. He's taken a little bit of a hop as he goes over that left-hand corner. You have to be very careful there not to hit that big yellow sausage that's just on the inside, but he's taken ever so slightly too much curb there, and as you can see, the back of the car has just taken an ever so tiny hop, but it's enough to unload that outside rear tyre, and it's thrown him round. So poor old Sylvain Pomerade, he brought that on himself. He had a great start to the race and was definitely driving away at the front there at the beginning of this 4th lap. He was over 2 seconds in the lead, so he's got it all to do again. What that does mean, of course, is that Ashley Sutton has inherited the lead. So that move that Sutton made very early on, back in lap 1 of the race when he got around Fabio Gonzalez, is really paying dividends for Sutton now, as he inherits the lead as a result of that uncharacteristic, it has to be said, mistake by Sylvain Pomerade. Pomerade will certainly be looking to get back through the pack as quickly as he can do. That very much easier said than done. He finds himself in a playful overgaming sandwich a little bit. He's got Juan Jose Sanchez, Juan Carlos Jaraguay and Carlos Foss in front of him, and he's got Ruben Velasco and Jose Iviguera right up behind him. So unfortunately, rather than being able to get on and chase the guys in front and recover some of those positions, poor old Sylvain Pomerade is being monstered by Ruben Velasco, and as we say that, Velasco is 0.3 of a second behind the man in front, Sylvain Pomerade, who he's chasing down. Pomerade's just got to gather his thoughts together and get cracking. His fastest lap of the race is not very much quicker than Velasco's lap. The fastest lap of the race from Sylvain Pomerade is a 2:05.7, and behind him, Ruben Velasco has been managed to turn a 2:05.8. So he's certainly not got a great deal of pace over Velasco behind him, but he'll certainly be looking to try and get back as quickly as he can do into his rhythm. This circuit certainly through turns 2 to 5, that S's section that sweeps right, left, and then left again as you exit that section. It's very much a rhythm section, and certainly the back end of this circuit, which these guys are just coming through now, it can be tight, it can be twisty. There's a few corners such as this one now that Pomeroy is just going through, where you really have to wait to get on the throttle. You want to get on the throttle, but you've got to wait and treat that as one double apex corner rather than two separate corners. So it's very much a rhythm circuit, and he needs to recover his composure, get back in that rhythm and start turning those quick laps again as quickly as he possibly can do, because up front Ashley Sutton looks, certainly wouldn't go as far as saying comfortable. Anyone with only a half a second gap to the car behind is never going to be particularly comfortable, but as Ashley Sutton goes back onto the start-finish straight again, he is pursued by Fabio Gonzalez, as has been the case since very, very early on. And as I said, Sutton's lead now is down to just half a second point. 5 of a second is the gap, and these two guys are gapping Juan Jose Sanchez in that number 10 blue and white machine a little bit. Sanchez is now 1.2 seconds behind Gonzalez. So if Gonzalez and Sutton can be smart here, more Gonzalez than Sutton, to be fair, if he can just follow Ashley Sutton and maybe keep his powder dry for the last 5 minutes of the race, these guys could continue to pull away from Juan Jose Sanchez in third place and try to take advantage of the pace that they seem to have over the rest of the field. That said, if these guys start fighting hard, we've only got 11.5 minutes as Ashley Sutton there wags his back end at Fabio Gonzalez, waves his butt at him as they go sweeping through down towards this very, very tight turn at the end of the long straight, and Sutton runs wide. He gets it a little bit wrong there, and he's got a slow run out of the corner, and Gonzalez behind him will be doing everything he can do to try and take advantage of that. Certainly he'll be closing on him as they run down this long back straight, which has a very slow corner coming onto it. You've got to get it right, and a very slow corner coming off of it again, and Sutton cuts slightly to the inside again, wags his tail under braking, trying to cover that inside line as best as he can do to stop Fabio Gonzalez behind him taking advantage of that slight mistake. But what we'll see is Gonzalez will just sit and wait, I think, and as I said, hope he can grow the gap a little bit to third place. It looks like that's unlikely to happen. Juan Jose Sanchez, looking at the split times, has certainly picked up the pace on this lap, so it's all to play for here. We've got, as I say, just over 10 minutes, 10.5 minutes now remaining of this race. It has flown by, but it's certainly anyone's race. I'd say out of these top three, if Sutton and Gonzalez have a moment, then Juan Jose Sanchez in third place will be more than willing to gobble them up. So let's have a bit of a look at what's going on down through the rest of the field. There's a few great races going on, and I will a shout must go out to Tom Ward for bucking the trend. Tom is the highest place, one of the highest placed McLarens. There are two running in and around that top 10 area. Rob Reed is in 9th, and as I say that, Rob Reed runs wide. I've been warned by the competitors about that. Every time I pick somebody out, they get it wrong. So credit to Rob Reed and to Tom Ward for taking the battle to these Z4 GT3s that are fighting up front, and it's great to see those McLarens being able to run strongly here. It would be nice, as I said last week, if iRacing could find a way to balance the performance still further, because it would be brilliant to have a truly mixed field. But the Z4s at the moment seem to have the advantage in terms of being able to put the power that they've got down more effectively and more efficiently than the cars, the RUF and the McLaren MP412C. So let's have a quick look. It looks like we've lost another one of the top runners. Looking at Willem Botter, who was running in 26th position, I believe. It looks to me like he's had a bit of a problem. He doesn't appear to be running anymore, and he's clouted that inside sausage, and he's run wide, and he's gone. Like, he's been disconnected from the server by the looks of it. And I would say that he's probably been disqualified. I mentioned it right at the start of the evening that these guys were really going to have to be careful to make sure they don't exceed the 15 incident limit that we have in this race, and it looks like we've had a few victims of that so far. We've certainly lost Willem Botha. We've just lost Tom Young as well from the server, and I'll be reasonably willing to bet that that's the same thing. As I say, this circuit is tight and twisty, and if you take too much of that curb, you'll get an incident for it, and it's gonna bite you. It's really gonna bite you. I think we've lost Juan Prieto as well. So certainly as we move into the last 7.5 minutes or so of this race, it looks like people are starting to make a few mistakes, and if you're Juan Prieto, it's just going to cost you a few spaces. But yeah, we're losing cars left, right and centre by the looks of it. So anyway, back up front, Ashley Sutton's been managed to pull a little bit of a gap to Fabio Gonzalez, who chases him down. Gonzalez in that number 111 orange and black machine, chasing the yellow and black CQR machine of Ashley Sutton. Sutton seems to be able to manage that gap to Gonzalez, and he seems to be very much slower than Gonzalez through that tight left-hander that runs onto the long back straight, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him too badly, because the space that Gonzalez is able to make up on him, he loses in that twisty back section, and Sutton is definitely very able to hang on to his gap up front. Behind these guys in third place, we've got Juan Jose Sanchez still for Playful Bet Overgaming, and Sanchez is being pursued by his teammate Giancarlo Jaraguay. And just behind these guys, Carlos Foss is driving a very bent Z4 GT3. Carlos Foss was running in 5th position. He's now down in 8th position, and I'll have a little bit of a look and see what's gone on, and I certainly hope that what I suspect might have happened hasn't happened, and exactly it has. A little bit of a friendly fire incident then by the looks of it, unfortunately. It looks like Jose Vergara is, I think I've picked the right car there. It's difficult with all of these Playful Bet Overgaming machines. No, I've picked the wrong one. Ruben Velasco it was indeed, he's taken a very optimistic lunge down the inside of his teammate Carlos Foss, and he's just plain punted Carlos Foss off the circuit. So that'll be a fun one to be in their race transporter at the end of the race. There'll probably be some teacups and probably some tapas and paella flying around, such as my stereotypes of what goes on in the Mediterranean teach me. So anyway, back up front, Ashley Sutton in the number 41 machine now he was caught by Fabio Gonzalez on that last lap quite significantly. I mentioned that Gonzalez looked much quicker going through that tight left-hander that leads onto the long back straight there. He certainly seems very much more effective than Sutton at getting that turn 11. The turn 11 right, and gets a much stronger run, and Sutton for the last 2 or 3 laps has been able to make hay on the twisty back section from turn 12 to turn 19, but he wasn't able to do that on that last lap, and Gonzalez was able to stay close to him and cross the line only 0.7 seconds behind him, so took a good 0.5 of a second out of Ashley Sutton on that last lap. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as we have a little over 4.5 minutes of this 25-minute race remaining. Let's give you a bit of a rundown of the top 10, because we've had a few changes over the last lap or so. So up front is Ashley Sutton. Behind him in the number 111 machine is Fabio Gonzalez. Gonzalez is pulling away slightly from Juan Jose Sanchez at the end of the last lap. There was a 3.3 second gap between Gonzalez and Sanchez, so the top two definitely pulling away. Giancarlo Jaraguay is running in 4th place ahead of Sylvain Pomerade. So Pomerade's recovered to 5th position. Pomerade, who led the early laps of this race before, he unfortunately got a little bit of a bump over the curb through the corner that these guys are just going through now as it happens, and unfortunately was spat across the circuit as he got on the gas a little bit too quickly. Jose Vergara is in 6th place ahead of Ruben Velasco and Carlos Foss, who I'm sure will be having words after this race. Velasco just punted Foss off the circuit with a very optimistic outbraking manoeuvre that was never going to work from anyone's position, probably apart from Velasco's. Rob Reed still running very strongly in the McLaren, and as I say, he gets my my hearty congratulations, and certainly I hope he can wander up the field just for the sake of seeing a McLaren finish higher up the field than some of these GT3s. And as I say, that Reed is definitely closing in on Carlos Foss. Foss in a very bent-looking machine. If we can see the left rear of that number 96 BMW Z4 GT3 is fairly battered, and I'm not sure if that's affecting him too badly. I don't know if he's having too much of a problem or not, but I'll have a look through the cockpit view. No, he seems to be holding the steering wheel in pretty much a straight line, so all seems right. So if we look back up front now, Ashley Sutton's just run wide again. I don't know if he's running out of tyres or what the issue is, but that's enabled Gonzalez to get very, very close to him, and as they hang around that very, very tight turn 12 on the run up the hill into the turn 13 and 14 double right-hander. I think I'm looking at the right part of the circuit. It all looks a bit samey, to be honest with you, at times. Yes, indeed it was. So now they go through 15 and through turn 19 and back up onto the start-finish straight. Just go around turn 20 now. Back onto the start-finish straight. He looks very much closer, certainly closer than he's appeared to be for the last couple of laps. And speaking of last couple of laps, this will almost certainly be the last time by. I'll be very surprised if these guys get an extra lap. We've got 1 minute 40 seconds remaining of this race, this 25-minute race, and laps around here have typically been taking somewhere in the region of 2 minutes and 6 seconds. So I would say that if Fabio Gonzalez is going to wrestle this victory away from Ashley Sutton, he's going to have to do it now. And as I say that, Sutton gets a fantastic drive out of turn 1 and is very, very quick through that S's section, through turns 2, 3, 4 and 5. And now as they go through the annoying corners that never seem to end on the run down to turn 10, the flick left at turn 10, which they go through now, and then the big stop into turn 11, the hairpin that takes them onto the back straight. Ashley Sutton hasn't been great here, and as you see, Fabio Gonzalez takes that wide sweeping line that Michael Stephen tried earlier on and came to grief, and it's given Fabio Gonzalez a fantastic run on Ashley Sutton running down this long back straight. Sutton's a little bit naughty there, he's running off the circuit. You've got to leave racing room. Gonzalez very much alongside, and he has the inside line, and there's contact inevitably. They both hold on to it. Fantastic driving. Sutton wags his tail, manages to gather it all together, and stops just in front of Fabio Gonzalez, but contact there almost inevitable. Ashley Sutton putting an absolutely enormous squeeze on Fabio Gonzalez and putting him off the circuit. That red banding that you see is actually the track limit. The track is the bit of black stuff between the two white lines, and I'm not sure Fabio Gonzalez will be delighted with that, but it is the last lap, and if you're going to defend hard, the last lap is definitely the time to do it. And it looks to me like Fabio Gonzalez's chance has gone with that very, very robust defence by Ashley Sutton, the subsequent contact, and fantastic driving from both guys to manage to keep the cars racing in the right direction as they run down the little short chute from 19 into turn 20 now. Ashley Sutton throws that BMW Z4 GT3 to the left, gets on the gas as quickly as he can do, and takes the race win, crosses the finish line to win in first place. So he'll be absolutely delighted with that result. Second place is Fabio Gonzalez, who possibly won't be quite so delighted with what transpired on that last lap, but these are big GT cars. They're not open wheelers, and there's a reason for that. Juan Jose Sanchez brings the first of the Playful Bet Over Gaming machines home in third position ahead of his teammate John Oncala Jaraguay. Sylvain Pomerade manages to recover to fifth place in that number 114 JCL sim racing machine, and he'll be absolutely kicking himself. He seemed pretty much to have this race in the bag. He was pulling away from Sutton and Gonzalez, who were fighting over second place at the time. Pomerade had a 2.1 second lead, and he just dropped it, unfortunately, getting on the power too quickly. So a good recovery to fifth place, but he certainly won't be pleased. Jose Vergara is in sixth place, and speaking of not pleased, we've got Ruben Velasco in seventh place, and Rob Reed finishes eighth, brings the first non-Z4 home. That McLaren MP4 does a fantastic job bringing that home in eighth place, and unseen by us on that last lap. Obviously we were focusing on that battle for the lead. He got around Carlos Foss, and Foss certainly was the mugging that his teammate Ruben Velasco put on him a couple of laps previously. If I was Carlos Foss, I'd check my back pocket to make sure I still had my wallet, because it certainly was a little bit of a mugging rather than a racing move. And for the last 3 laps of the race after that incident, Foss, whose quickest lap was a 206.335, could only manage low 208s. So certainly carrying a little bit of damage there, it appears, and it gave that McLaren, driven by Rob Reed, the number 22 JCB sponsored machine, a chance to get past him. So Reed takes 8th place ahead of Carlos Foss in 9th, and the second of the Pomerades, Nicolas Pomerade, brings the number 14 machine home in 10th place. Wow, so quite an exciting first race there. I've having a little bit of a look again at that incident between Ashley Sutton and Fabio Gonzalez on the last lap, and we do have an appeals procedure in this series. Drivers, if they feel they've been wronged, have the ability to put an appeal into the race organisers, where it's looked at by the teams. And I think Fabio Gonzalez will probably be taking advantage of that situation. Every time I look at it, it just seems a little bit too robust, to be honest with you. Gonzalez did exactly the right thing. He'd been setting Ashley Sutton up for a long time, making Ashley Sutton progressively outbrake himself going through that turn 11 onto that long back straight. We commented it on 2 or 3 times, and Gonzalez on that last lap threw a slight dummy up the inside of Ashley Sutton, and then ran his car very wide to the outside to give him that long sweep that we mentioned you could also do through turn 1, which gave him a fantastic drive through that turn 11 and down that long back straight. And to be fair, it's one of those. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, to be honest with you. When Sutton went very far left, to be fair, Gonzalez wasn't really alongside him. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. It's a difficult one, but as I said in commentary in the race, if you're going to defend hard, you're going to defend hard on the last lap. And Gonzalez behind should certainly have expected that he was going to come up against a very bullish, very robust Ashley Sutton on that last lap. As we take another look at it, as you'll see, Sutton he gets across to the left before Gonzalez really gets his nose up the inside. And yeah, looking at it again, it looks like Gonzalez chooses more to put his car on that red stripe more than he's forced onto that red stripe. So I'd have to say racing incident, really. They could have given each other a little bit more room, and to be fair, the quality of their driving shone through at the end, as there was contact and they both managed to hang on to these very heavy machines, probably helped by the fact that the engines in these things are at the front rather than at the back. If you get a tank slapper on with a machine where the engine is not quite so far forward, it's just going to act like a pendulum and fire you around. So a great job by both there. So a very exciting race. A great last lap. As expected, we lost a few drivers to disqualifications, and these guys are really going to have to watch that for the second race. We've got a reverse grid, obviously, for the second race. We want a reverse top 20 in this series, so that means that Tian Dames in the number 301 Team Extreme machine is going to be starting the second race from pole position. He's got some very quick guys around him, though, it has to be said. Kepes Albidi Garcia, we've seen, who finished 18th in this race and therefore starts 3rd in the next race, has been very quick so far this season. Poor old Linus Bostrom not really getting the job done tonight. He misses out on that top 20 reverse grid. He finishes in 22nd position. So it looks to me like his run of great consistency is probably going to come to an end, but he certainly can surprise us. So it's all to play for in the second race of the evening, so race 10 of the championship. Ashley Sutton will be delighted with his win, and he'll be hoping to drive as best as he can through the field. He's going to start that second race in 20th position to get the best finish he can in the second race and maximise his point scoring possibility. Please join us for that second race. We'll be going again shortly. Just stay on the BSR TV page here on YouTube, and you'll see that the next session is is trailed there already. Just hang around, and when the session goes live, please click on it. Join us for that second race, round 10 of the championship. We look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. Thanks very much.